Suppose we wish to answer the following question. What is the probability of having a score of no more than 7.56 for a chi-square distribution with 4 degrees of freedom? Demonstrate the idea with a picture. In this case, we can use the shade chi-square command on the calculator to answer this question. The structure of the command is as follows. You activate shade chi-square, then you type in the lower bound, then the upper bound, and then the degrees of freedom. And these are all separated by commas. So let's answer this question. You activate shade chi-square by going under second VARs, then draw, and selecting the shade chi-square option. Type in the lower bound, then a comma, then the upper bound, and then a comma, and then the degrees of freedom. And then we close off the command. Now at this point we have the command ready, but the graph will not show up very clearly. We need to size up our window accordingly. The x-min will be 0 since chi-square variables are squares of normally distributed random variables and therefore cannot be negative. The x-max will be 15. This is the user's discretion. You definitely want the x-max to be at least the upper bound, in our case 7.56, so we may see the picture. Since there will be information published, we are going to save some room at the bottom of the screen so we may see this information clearly. I'll set the y-min to be negative 0.2. The y-max can be tricky, but we'll use the chi-square PDF command to determine the y-max value. The mode, the highest point on a chi-square distribution, is equal to the maximum of the degrees of freedom minus 2 or 0. Since our degrees of freedom are 4, we will set the value for the chi-square PDF command to evaluate at x equal 2. And now we are set. So we set up our window accordingly by hitting Window, 0 for x-min, 15 for x-max, and I'll keep the scaling at 1 for the x-axis. And then negative 0.2 for the y-min. And now comes the y-max. We hit second in VARs, and then we select the chi-square PDF command. Type in the value of 2, comma, and then the degrees of freedom. And that gives us our y-max value. And I'll set the y-scaling to be 1/10. Now I return to the home screen so I can execute the shade chi-square command. And here we see the graph being shown. And here we have our results. The area, about 0.89, that is the probability of having a score between 0 and 7.56 under this particular chi-square curve. The degrees of freedom are posted right next to it. Low represents where I start shading, in this case 0, and up represents where I stop shading, in this case 7.56. So this is how you can use the shade chi-square command on the TI-83-84 calculators.